So I'm at my dad's house right now. He's up here for a work trip. I've been up since 6 o'clock this morning. Went to work, came home, decided to go for a ride. Did some riding yesterday too. And then the road just ends into this. There'll be a link in the comments to the full ride, all the riding I did on this thing in the last 2 days. And then I plan on taking this bike to my grandparents'. It's a 180-acre farm there with a big bunch of hills. I'm going to try some hills with it. And see how that works. That video will be a separate video. It'll post after this one. So if you're watching this, watch till the end. Look for the end screen. In that end screen, I'll link both the riding video I did around here and the riding video I did at the farm. The links will also be in the comments section. Go check out the comments section. And it will be in the description. So if you find any value out of this video, hit that like button. Drop me a comment. Let me know if I'm doing good. Let me know if I'm doing bad. Just be polite about it. Comment section is completely unmoderated. It gets a little unhinged. But you know, you're going to say some dumb shit. Don't get mad when people say dumb shit back to you. Yes, that's what I'm getting at. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I just got done riding this thing. So, what is this thing? This is a 2025 Kawasaki KLX 300. Picked it up a few months ago. Haven't had a chance to break it in. We're going to talk about the goods, the bads, the uglies on it right now. So, when I picked this bike up, the goal, I did a lot of research on what I wanted. And basically what I was looking for in a bike was on-road and off-road capability. This is my get-home bike. So I strap this to the back of my car. I take it with me. And if something happens where I can't get out of the car, I've got this as a backup. I've also got a backup ECU for it, as well as some backup electronic parts. So if something were to happen to jeopardize the electronics on this bike, it is fuel injected. Basically, if something was to happen to this bike to take the electronics out of commission, I got spares to just swap out and then I can go. And the spares are fairly cheap. The spare ECU I got is an API Tech ECU from Thailand. Allows you to tune it. So right now this bike is bone stock as far as the engine goes. Engine, drivetrain, I haven't changed the gearing on it or nothing. Stock tires, stock suspension. Minus this lowering link. This is aftermarket. So stock, there's some things that need to be improved on at stock. And some of the things I did improve on, and let's talk about it. Oh, I'm so tired. I'm sorry. So I added this rack system here. As you can see, this is good. I can strap my get-home bag on this. I can strap some fuel cans to the side of it with some saddle bags. This is a Works Connection aftermarket caliper guard. It's aluminum instead of plastic. These foot pegs, one of the biggest things that I've done to this thing to make this thing rideable is these foot pegs. The stock foot pegs are fucking shit. These foot pegs are way better. And these are like 20 something bucks, I think. By the way, if you go to the description of this video, all the parts I've bought for this, I will link in the description. If they're Amazon links, I do get a commission on them. I am an Amazon affiliate and you would help the channel out greatly by buying through my links. I will also link Rocky Mountain MC and I will link the eBay links to stuff that I found on here. I've also got another box of parts that I need to put on. My radiator guards are over there. But I was mainly concerned about armoring this. This is a completely stock bike. I put these Amazon fork savers on and it seems like they've done a good job. I put these are PM racks. Like I said, these are eBay foot pegs. They're basically IMS super stock foot pegs, but they're knockoff. This is a Tusk skid plate. I'll link this phone mount too. So what do I think about this bike? Oh God. I was genuinely surprised about this bike, guys. So I was looking for a get-home bike, did a lot of research, and I came up with this one, KLX 300. It's got kind of a cult following around it. There's also the DRZ 400 is another good one. It was between this and a DRZ 400 or a used carbureted KLX 300, which is really what I wanted, but I was having a hard time finding them. Or the KLX 250 Dual Sport. So why did I pick this? I bought this brand new. It was like $5,000 brand new. Bought it at the tail end of 2025 and the 2026s were out. Completely bone stock. It's got 200 and some odd miles on it. I'm still breaking this thing in. Just breaking it in the dirt a little bit. But the reason I went with this one, not the DRZ 400, was mainly the seat height. I'm 5'4" tall. This bike fits me for being so short. I'm short. Even without the lowering link, it was manageable. Now with the lowering link, it's a lot more manageable. As you can see here, it went from like, I think 35 3/4 inches down to like 33.5 inches. Just by changing the lowering link out, I can actually put both feet on the ground with it now. So the goods about this bike, on-road capability, this thing's not very good on road. I'm gonna rate everything out of 10. If I had to rate back road capability, solid, I'd give it a solid 10 out of 10.
We got the wind going.
Highway capability, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Interstate capability, I'm gonna give it about a 4 out of 10. This thing is ass on the interstate. I took it down I-265 to go get my expense check, and I was getting blown everywhere. You know, it was hard to maintain speed. Stock, this motor's not got a lot of power, which is something I'm gonna work on. So that's the on-road capability. Off-road capability, gravel roads, I give it 10 out of 10. Double track, good trails, they're well maintained, I give it 8 out of 10. Single track, I give it about an 8 out of 10. And I'm talking completely bone stock. Mud, right now, bone stock, mud, I give this thing a 3 out of 10. And the only reason it gets a 3 out of 10 is because of these fucking tires right here. These are Dunlop D605s. And in any kind of mud, as you can see right now on this video,
Oh, woo. Yeah, we're just roosting. Come on, push, baby. Push, push, push.
any kind of mud, I'm just sliding, scooting. I have no traction. I've almost got stuck several times. I made it 1.1 miles back on that road that I was talking about, wanting to get back. And that was a hard 1.1 miles just because of the mud. The mud, it wore me out trying to keep this bike straight. If I put some Tusk D-Sport Adventure tires or some D606s on it, this bike's golden. 90% of the off-road issues I had with this bike were these motherfuckers right here, specifically that front tire. The suspension was surprisingly good. I've rode this off-road without the lowering link and with the lowering link. And I will say, with this lowering link, finally starting to catch my breath. With this lowering link, the suspension gets softer than it is from the factory, and it's soft from the factory, guys. I'm anywhere from 150 to 190 pounds, depending on what time of year it is. Coming out of the winter months, I'm a little chunky, you know, put on that winter fat. I usually burn it off in the summer with gardening and all that bullshit.
That's better.
Get me back down about 150, but as I stand right now, about 175 to 180, and the stock suspension without the lowering link was soft. With the lowering link, it got softer. Now, what I did to compensate for that, like, and you can see this, you can see it sag as soon as I take it off the kickstand. It's better than what it was. It's a lot better, but it's got a lot of static sag. I do need to probably adjust the sag on a little bit more. What I've done so far on it is I've ran the spring ring. I don't know the technical term for it right now.
I don't know what it's called. I just know the sound it makes when it takes a man's life.
With the spring ring, I ran it down about a 1/2 inch on there. That helped a lot. I went 6 clicks on the compression, 5 clicks on the rebound on the rear shock, stiffer. I've increased the compression dampening by 6 clicks from stock. I've increased the rebound dampening 5 clicks from stock, and I've increased the compression dampening. The front forks, the only adjustment you get on them is the compression dampening, and I've increased the compression dampening 5 clicks on the front. And right now it's pretty solid for off-road, in my opinion. And most of the problems I had were these fucking D605s. Terrible tires. Terrible. They're okay on the road. They're more of a road tire. They do good on the road. They're not noisy on the road, really. They do good on gravel. They just, in the mud, they're terrible. Hard pack was fine. I ran them on hard pack back up in all these hills and shit. It was fine. That little bit of single tracking I did, they weren't too bad there. But once I hit that road, where that road ended, past that bridge, shit, boy, I was fucking tired. I was fighting it, trying to keep this thing up. As you can see here, I lost that battle a few times. So good for trails. Obviously, you're not going to take this thing on jumps and shit. It's not meant for it. It's a fucking trail bike. For trails, the suspension's pretty good. I'd give the suspension 7 out of 10. It's no race bike. Tires, 3 out of 10. Stock foot pegs, 3 out of 10. These aftermarkets, I give them a solid 6 out of 10. And once you get the suspension properly set up, you know, it helps. I also dropped the forks and the triple clamps a little bit. Or actually raised the forks and triple clamps, dropped the triple clamps down a little bit. Because when I put the lowering link on, that just helps balance everything. Stock handlebars aren't bad. Stock controls, They keep moving on me. I need to tighten them all up. Those are Amazon bark busters. They've helped. As you can see, that lever right there is broken because I laid it down without the bark busters on it. I've got some aftermarket levers to put on it still. So that's kind of the general overview of the bike. Now, the downsides to this bike is this motherfucker right here. You have 22 horsepower at the rear wheels on a 300cc bike that is 300 pounds. Now, it is a heavy bike. To put this in perspective, here's my riding experience. I've been riding motorcycles since I was 6 years old. I had a 1978 Honda Mini Trail 50, which I started on. I crashed it, got scared of it, didn't ride it for a while, hopped back on it, found my love for it again, bam. Rode a lot of four-wheelers, rode three-wheelers. Man, I had an 80s three-wheeler, dude. One of the first things I did when I was a little kid, I was probably 8 or 9, I put that stupid little screw in the throttle, I had the thumb throttle. I put that stupid little screw in the throttle, thinking they were gonna slow me down. Fuck no, son. First thing I did was move that fucking throttle screw out. Got me a little Phillips, took that bitch out, fucking hit it, flipped that motherfucker, dude. Like, whoop! Fucking thing took off. Parents got mad at me because I took the throttle screw out. Played around with that 1978 Honda Mini Trail 50 for a long time. Till I rode it till it fucking wouldn't ride anymore. And then it was probably about 9 or 10. I'm guessing on the age here. I don't really remember. I'm sure my dad will leave a comment telling me the timeline. You know, I inherited a blown up 1985 Kawasaki KLX 62 stroke. We rebuilt it. Me and my dad did. It was a fun little project. I rode it for a long time. No power valve, dude. It was just fucking sucked gas and kicked ass, you know. From the KX60, I moved up to an XR100. The XR100 is a trail bike, 100cc trail bike. And I ran the piss out of it. I hit jumps with it, broke the spokes off of it, constantly stretched the chain out, took the link out of the chain, trying to save some life on the chain. Chain slipped off, busted the cases on it. That was expensive. It was supposed to be warranty work because the guy at Bloomington Power Sports was actually the guy who took the link out of the chain. Or I think he told my dad to take the link out of the chain. That's a whole story. I have to get my dad in on this for some details. So I had an XR100, 2000. It was a 2000 XR100. Ran the piss out of it. Wanted more power. I'm 5'4" for reference, and at this time I was probably about that. I peaked out at about 6th grade. I was the tallest kid in my class. In 7th grade, I was the shortest. So I moved up to a 1999 Yamaha YZ125. I took it out 80 over to a 134. Raced it for a little bit. I like that bike. I wore that bike out, man. It got to where, I mean, all the threads were stripped out on all the plastic. I had to zip tie the plastic on to hold it on. Every time I'd wreck the motherfucker, you'd see the bike tumble and just plastic flying off like it was a fucking NASCAR wreck. That was a lot of fun. Looked like fucking Ricky Bobby out there. Ended up selling it, buying a 1999 Kawasaki KX 125. That was probably the best bike I ever owned in my life. I fucking loved it. Ran the piss out of it. About 3.5 miles that way. And keep in mind, this is, 2004 to 2008 time frame. There was a track up there called Moto Supreme in Kurtz, Indiana. Leave me a comment, like and comment, if you're watching this video right now and you ever rode at fucking Moto Supreme or heard of Moto Supreme. Some of the funnest riding, boys. Almost made it to the top of Lizard Hill out there. That KX 125. Almost. That was fun. That ruined my FMF fatty pipe. So ran a lot out of Moto Supreme. I've got a lot of motocross and hare scramble experience. I raced both Outlaw and AMA, District 15, with one of my buddies. Mainly did the Outlaw tracks, didn't do the AMA as much. I ran, I think, Stony Lonesome maybe once or twice. I ran Linville once. Stone City Ranch out in Bedford. Ran that one a bunch. Mainly stuck to Moto Supreme. I just like to ride. Joined the Marines after my first deployment. I bought a 2005 Honda CRF 250R off of one of my sergeants that I deployed with. And I ran that at Busco Beach for a long time in Jacksonville, North Carolina. I was stationed in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Where was Busco Beach? Goldsboro? I can't remember exactly where, but ran the piss out of that thing at Goldsboro on both, or at Busco Beach on both the track and the trails. I got some video of that. If I can find the video, I'll post it here. And I'll also post that footage in the description so you can watch that. And this will all be in its own little playlist. From there, I got rid of the CRF 250. I got tired of shimming valves and replacing valves on it. It was a fucking turd. I'm not a big fan of 4-strokes. I'm a 2-stroke guy through and through. Hands down. 2 strokes for life. Except for this fucking thing. So, next bike I bought was a 2008 KTM 300 XC 2-stroke. Had a lot of fun with that one. That's all you can do to keep the front tire on the ground, son, dude. Oh, God, so much fun. I went to strip it down to rebuild it. I never got it rebuilt, ended up getting divorced, and then I think I sold the whole bike for like $300 to a high school kid. Him and his dad are making a project bike out of it. Need to call them to see if they ever got that thing running. I'd love to see it running again. That was the funnest bike I ever owned in my life. So that's my experience with dirt bikes. I also rode crotch rockets occasionally. I had a Harley. I was in a motorcycle club in Jacksonville there for a while. So I got a lot of street experience too. If you don't know what a motorcycle club is, it's where a bunch of gay people get together and they snoodle. It was literally the gayest thing I ever did, and I don't even mean any offense to the LGBTQ community, but it was fucking gay. I just wanted to drink beer and hang out with guys and ride motorcycles. And they want to do all kinds of dumb Sons of Anarchy bullshit. It's fucking stupid. Anyways, so now we're here. So I'm 36 years old now. I haven't rode a motorcycle off-road in 16 years, probably. I haven't rode one hard off-road in probably 18 years. No, I'd say probably 2012 was the last time I rode one hard off-road at Busco Beach, that CRF 250R. So I'm just now getting back into dirt. This is a great bike for beginners to get back into dirt with. So yeah, so this motor, 22 horsepower, ain't got shit. It needs the ignition timing advanced on it. It needs more fuel. So this thing, the EPA has rat fucked this entire bike. It's got a pair valve. Now there's some confusion on what a pair valve is. And I've got this thing completely bone stock. It's still under warranty. I'm still breaking it in. I'm not doing shit to the motor until the warranty expires and it's already broken. So the pair valve, what the pair valve does is, we're cool. It allows airflow from the airbox into the exhaust port. It's got a reed valve in here, and it's got a electrical valve up here that opens and allows the air in. So how this works is you get an exhaust pulse. When the piston comes up and pushes the exhaust out, it pressurizes that exhaust and pushes it out almost like in a ball. So you got this ball of pressure coming out of this pipe, impulse. Well, behind that ball of pressure is an area of negative pressure. And that reed valve allows fresh air to suck in behind that ball of pressure, reigniting your exhaust gases to completely burn the fuel out before it gets over here to your narrowband O2 sensor, and then out this muffler, which I believe has a catalytic converter in it. So this narrowband O2 sensor is designed to read stoic. Stoic is the stoichiometric ratio, which is basically a balanced chemical equation to where you would get nothing but CO2 and H2O as a byproduct of ignition. Stoic for gasoline is 14.7 to 1 air-fuel ratio. 14.7 parts air, 1 part fuel. That's extremely lean. It's the most efficient a motor will run is at 14.7 to 1, but you don't get the most power out of 14.7 to 1. This thing's still a little hot. The downside of this pair valve is that it causes excessive engine heat and wear. What it also does is it'll make a lean condition in this exhaust. So this O2 sensor, like cruise, will read lean, and it will fuel decent up in here. You get okay fueling. It's false fueling. You're reading stoic here, but you're actually a little bit rich here because of the pair valve dumping air into the exhaust. And what that does is it does falsely richen just a little bit. Now, at low RPMs, the way the fueling works with this ECU is that it reads off the map sensor and you fuel off the map sensor. So at a certain parameters, and it's in the book, it's in the Kawasaki manual, it will fuel off the map sensor. So when it sees changes in the map sensor, it adjusts the volumetric efficiency in the ECU to change the amount of fuel dropped in this throttle body, to try to achieve stoic there too. So you get decent fueling if you change parts on this at low and mid RPM and cruise. But when you crack the throttle, you're actually running open loop. You're not running a closed loop system anymore. So when you change the exhaust and open up the intake on this, it will run excessively lean, because that ECU is running on an open loop and it's running off the throttle position sensor map. And that map is going to run lean when you start opening this thing up. And you'll be able to see that on the spark plug. The spark plug will be kind of white and chalky. You can see it right here. So that's how this thing's operating right now. So that's some of the emissions things. Another emissions thing you have in here is what's called a secondary throttle plate, or what's called a sub-throttle. So this is your primary throttle. When I crack this, little butterfly valve opens. So right now we're 0 TPS, 100% TPS. Well, there's a sub-throttle in here that's not open. And that sub-throttle opens slowly, It stays about only 40% open until you get past 7,500 RPMs. And what that does on your power band is it causes a dip in the mid-range, and then it comes back up later. So, and you can feel it hard. This thing is bone stock, and you can feel that shit hard. Okay? So some people remove the secondary throttle plate. Well, when you remove the secondary throttle plate, that's fine when you're running off the O2 sensor and running off the map sensor. But when you crack the throttle wide open, you lean bog a little bit. The API Tech ECU that I'm not currently running on this, but will be running, has a sub-throttle table, so you can actually just run the sub-throttle wide open, and you can run your acceleration enrichment to compensate for that. So when you crack the throttle wide open, it knows to dump a certain amount of fuel extra over top of what it's dumping, so you don't get that lean bog. It just goes. You can also adjust the ignition timing on this. The ignition timing is extremely retarded on this, and I don't mean retard, but retarded is an actual technical term for ignition timing, valve timing. It's either advanced or it's retarded. And how that works is your ignition timing is when the piston's coming up on the compression stroke, the spark hits before top dead center, and your ignition timing is in degrees before top dead center. So right now, stock, this thing I believe runs at idle 5 degrees before top dead center is when the spark's happening. What happens is you'll get the pressure peaks after top dead center, and you'll just lose torque. So you want this thing, there's a whole tuning thing you can do to this where basically you can time it to where it's usually 25, 30 degrees before top dead center, depending on the RPM range, to where that pressure will peak as you're hitting top dead center, or you really want it to do like 10 to 12 degrees after top dead center. You want the pressure to peak so it pushes that piston down harder. That's where you get the most efficiency. So this thing, the ignition's extremely retarded on it for emissions, but with that retarded ignition, you could also run, you could run the shittiest gas in the world in this thing, and it'll still run on it, because it's only got 11.1 to 1 compression ratio, and you got that retarded ignition timing, so you can run shit fuel. I run 93 octane for this thing no matter what. If I had to run 87, I'd run 87. But when you start advancing that ignition timing, you run into knock territory with lower octane fuels. So if you do change the ignition timing on this, you will have to run higher octane fuels like 93 octane. So far, it's done okay on ethanol gas. I put additives in with it. I usually put a little Lucas in with it. And it seems to run okay. Now, on the road stock, this motor don't have a lot. On the trails and in the dirt stock, you don't see it so much, especially if you're running slow and single track. And I'm an old man, I'm putting. It's got good low end torque. This thing's like a tractor, dude. It'll just go. But it could use more, because anytime you run over logs or obstacles, you hit the gas, there's a delay. It's not very powerful. I have yet to get the front tire stock. I have yet to get the front tire off the ground on this, but I'm also still breaking it in. So I haven't really been goosing the throttle on it too much, but I'm going to see if I can it's not going to ever power wheelie, but I will see if I can wheelie it. I will see if I can wheelie it after it's broken in. But that's one of the obstacles I'm running into right now. I'm also running in the low RPM ranges. I'm not running it much past 6,000 RPMs because I'm still breaking it in. And in doing so, like hitting logs and stuff, like you can see in the trail riding videos, I had to go around several logs that if I was on, my CRF 250 or my KTM, especially my KTM XC300, I could have hit the gas and just wheelied over those logs and kept going. So that's where we're at with this. Still pretty muddy. So the engine, if you buy one of these, once you get it broke in, you need to put a little bit of money in the engine. I've got a Delcovic exhaust I'm going to change out. I'm going to do a pair delete Delcovic exhaust. I'm going to leave the narrow band because the API Tech ECU can work with the narrow band to map some of the fueling and help me build that good map fueling, because I have to build the VE table for the map still. I haven't put the API Tech ECU on this. I was just looking at some of the maps that came with it, and I was looking at some of the theory behind it, and I'll have a whole API Tech ECU tuning video on this thing once I'm there, but we're not there yet. Brakes work really good. There's no ABS. Give that shit up. You don't need ABS on a fucking dirt bike. It comes with a nice O-ring chain. The stock gearing is good for, I found it to be good. It's a little tall for slow trails in first gear. And it's a little short on the highway. You know, you're really high in the R's. If you're like, you know, I'm still breaking this thing in. I can barely run 55 and still be in my break-in RPM. So there's that. If you're wanting to learn more about these, there's a bunch of Facebook groups. There's KLX 300. There's KLX 300 mods or KLX mods and riders. I would definitely go to that. There's a guy named Perry in KLX mods and riders. He actually took one of these and made a KLX 402 out of it. He went to King Engine, put a 402 stroker crank in it, a 399 big bore kit on it, putting all kinds of power out. He's got a 350 EXC injector on it. So there's a lot of shit you can do. That King Engine kit, that 399 kit's about $1,600 right now. I thought about buying a scrap motor and doing that, but by the time I do that, I'd have like $2,500 in this motor. And at that point, I might as well just go buy a used fucking KX250 if I want power. So keep that in mind when you buy one of these. But as you can see, I just, you know, I went from road to gravel to dirt, back to gravel, back to road, back to gravel, back to dirt. And it's completely legal to do that.
Thank God for a snorkel.
So the reason I got this, mainly, this thing rattles. This thing rattles something terrible when you're going down the road. You need to get a tail tidy for it. So the main thing about this thing is it's a good beginner bike. It's got on and off-road capabilities. And it's not really good at either one. Like, it's not great at either one. It's way better off-road than it is on-road. It's a dirt bike at heart. This tank, something you need to know is this tank only holds 2 gallons and it is metal. It is a steel tank. I can stick a magnet to it right now. Hear it? So some upgrades that I'm going to do to this before I start messing with the motor too is I've got radiator guards for it. I'm going to finish armoring this up. I've got a spreadsheet of the stock weight, which is 302 pounds. And everything that I've added and subtracted from it, I'm weighing each part that I'm changing on it to get the actual weight of the bike. So you can know what your bike's going to weigh by using I think I'm putting in Microsoft Word. And that'll be in my Discord. Go click the link to my Discord in the description. And I'll upload all that in Discord. Join my Discord. We like to hang out and play games and talk about self-sufficiency and talk about guns, and talk about bikes and everything else. Come join us. We'd love to have you. Another thing about this, like I said, you can change the springs on the rear suspension. I would probably put a stiffer spring in eventually. Once, you know, the warranty expires, it needs a stiffer spring. I'm going to have to run that motherfucker all the way down to get it anywhere close to having the stiffness I want. But right now, as it sits, it's decent for trails. It's a little bit rough on the road now because I did tune it for trails on the suspension. So it does vibrate a little bit more on the road. Hurts your ass a little bit more on the road. This seat is kind of hard. If you're looking to lower it a little bit more, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shave this seat. I'm putting some memory foam in here so I'll sit lower on it. And I'm also putting a seat heater in here so I can ride in the winter a little bit easier. And I'm also going to get some grip heaters because I've rode this thing in the cold and it sucks. Yes. You get cold. Wear some warm clothes.
Ball tap.
Another thing that sucks ass about this bike are these fucking flimsy ass mirrors. So I'm short. I can duck under logs and stuff. When there's stuff over top the trails, I can just kind of go under it. These mirrors catch. Every time I freaking layer down, these mirrors get moved and fuck up. And they flop around the entire time you're on the trail, as you can see in the video. I would also like to change the grips out to some gel grips or something a little bit friendlier for off-road. I wouldn't mind changing the throttle tube out. I think I cracked the throttle tube on it. So, and then the bars, the stock bars are serviceable. I would probably want to run a little bit higher rise bars. Some pro tapers. I don't think I'll go past 7/8 inch bars. I'll probably just run aluminum 7/8 inch pro taper bars with like a Carmichael bend or something. Or a CR bend. Other than that, it needs a tail tidy. It needs new tires. Dunlop 606s, the Tusk D-Sport Adventure tires. I've heard good things. Can't vouch for them yet, but I'm going to try the Tusk tires, see how they do. I'll probably end up changing the coolant out to Psychologics Engine Ice or something not water-based, because water-based coolants will erode the aluminum in your water pump over time. Something to know. As far as oil, I'm still using the Kawasaki oil. I'm still on the actually it's had an oil change. I had to take this thing to the shop because I tried to start it in -10 degree weather, and it sheared some of the gears off the starter spline that goes around the stator, or the rotor of the stator, the magnetic rotor. And they had to change all that. I think they put like $1,500 for the parts in, changing all the fucking gears out on the starter side of it. And they changed the oil for me while they had it in the shop. Kawasaki covered it under warranty, no questions asked. I was really happy with it, as they should, because I shouldn't have to fucking pay for something that breaks from just starting the damn bike. Comes with an NGK BR80S plug, I believe. I got some Iridium plugs to run in it. I would keep spare plugs just in case. So I'm going to run the Delcovic. I've got a KDX snorkel I'm going to put in it. I got a twin air high flow air filter I'm going to put in it. And then I'm going to do the API Tech ECU to tune the fueling first, and then start gradually advancing that ignition timing a little bit, seeing if I can get a little bit more power out of it. To verify the power on this thing, I've got a Draggy Pro, however you say it. I'm going to mount this. I'm going to run it on flat roads, stock, once it's broken through the entire RPM range. I'm going to run about 10 runs on it. And then I'm going to input it into Excel with a whole lot of math based on the weight of this, which is also why I'm getting the exact weight of this bike. And by doing so and calculating my increases in speed over certain amounts of time, I will be able to reverse engineer through the gear ratio, the RPM range at which I'm seeing torque, and I should be able to make a torque curve or a power curve, a rough power curve for this. It's going to be a poor man's dynamometer is what it's going to be. So once I get that Excel sheet done, that will also be in my Discord. I've got a whole folder that I'm probably going to try to make some money off of, because I've got a lot of information that I've compiled over many years, including Marine Corps manuals in it. And I might put it like a subscription base. You get, $5 a month. You get unlimited access to that folder. You can download it all. You pay for 1 month. You can download the whole thing. Tell me to go fuck myself. Never talk to me again. Never pay me again. But you'll have, roughly a terabyte of data. And in nothing but reloading manuals, survival manuals, information on this, early access video that I've downloaded into that folder, STL files I've created for 3D printing, all that good stuff. If you're interested in that, leave me a comment and let me know. I got to make some money off this, or else I can't write shit off on my taxes. So that pretty much covers this whole bike. Just going to keep riding it and breaking it in, and posting videos of me riding it and breaking it in, and we'll see how that goes. What did I do with my lighter? I'm tired. I haven't rode off-road like that in a long time. I have back problems. I have shoulder problems. And dude, I am so fucking sore right now. I can't possibly describe how sore I am just from all that riding that's in the other video. That's unedited. It's 99% unedited, just me riding. So there's that. Also, this last ride that I did, I think I used about a quarter tank of gas. It gets pretty good gas mileage, as it is stock. Now, with the API Tech ECU, you can put it on a switch too. So I could run a conservative map that will allow me to run 87 octane. I'll get good fuel mileage and all that. And I can run a performance map where I should be able to, with the said mods, get at or close to 30 horsepower with this thing. And I think that would be enough horsepower to do what I want with it. To put that in perspective, my YZ125, I think, had 37 horsepower after the big bore kit. My KX125 had like 34, 35 horsepower. My CRF 250 had somewhere around there too. I think it had closer to 38. And those bikes were all about 205 pounds. My 300XC had, I think, over 50 horsepower, and it was 225 pounds, and it was electric start. So the power to weight ratio on this thing right now is dog shit compared to those bikes. It's a learning curve. If you're coming from racing or riding race bikes to one of these, you're going to be very underwhelmed with it, and you're going to need to do a little bit of work to it to get it back up to speed. But if you're an old man like me who has shoulder problems and back problems and whatnot, and you want to go putt around the woods for a little bit, this is your bike. Hell, I could probably throw a deer on the back of this. I thought about taking a deer hunting with me. riding it back up to my deer stand, parking it behind the deer stand, shooting a deer, throwing the deer on the back of this thing, and then riding it back down. How easy would that be? That's all I got for this, guys. I'm not going to wash it yet. I'm going to go take it to my grandparents and see how it does on a couple hills. It's going to be muddy as all get out down there too. Jesus. These tires suck. Get new tires. Also, when I get new tires on this, what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to take it to CC Power Sports, have them put the tires on. I want to put rim locks on it. This thing needs rim locks. Without rim locks, you can only run the tires at like 18 to 22 PSI. You can't run them lower. With rim locks, you can run your tire pressure as low as like 8 PSI. And if I was running, D606s at 8 PSI with rim locks and got a nice balanced tire, dude, I'd be hooking up all day long on that mud. I probably wouldn't even went around the fucking mud puddles. I probably would have just blasted through them. But we'll see once I get all that set up. We'll see how it works. We'll grow together. I'll show you what I'm doing to the bike. I'll show you my riding videos. And that's pretty much all I got, guys. If you found any value out of this, please, for the love of God, subscribe. Need some subscribers. It would help a lot. I do a lot of, the channel name is Homestead Tech Talk. I do homesteading. We talk about tech, we talk about bikes, we talk about guns, we talk about 3D printing for the homestead, guns for the homestead, thermal optics, night vision. That pretty much encompasses the entire generality of the channel. Go click on my homepage of my channel, go watch the little intro video, and if you like what you see, subscribe. If you don't like what you see, let me know what I could do better, please. I would love to know what I could do better. I know I'm not the best talking on the camera. It's a work in progress. I should probably start doing some scripts or something. I don't script any of this shit. I just talk about what I want to talk about. That's about all I got. Hope you found some value out of this. I love you guys. Stay for the end screen. The end screen will have all kinds of information. Love you. Peace.